What's going on? It's Proper Royals Live. It's Tuesday night. It's 8 o'clock on the East Coast, and I'm live here in Northfield, Minnesota at the Proper Royals HQ. My apologies in advance to everybody. I set the show scheduling time, like in the back office, I set the show scheduling time for 7:30, which is Central Time. It should be 7 p.m., which would have been 8:30 Eastern Time. It's always 8 p.m. Forget what I put on there. I will be here at 8 p.m. Eastern. That is, you can do the math for wherever you're staying. Sorry, even after so long, it messes me up. For some reason, I'm still getting used to the Central Time Zone stuff. But my Thursday morning show, Proper Cup of Joe, is at 7:30 Eastern, which is 6:30 Central. My Tuesday night show is 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. I should make them both on the hour or both on the half hour. Anyhow, now you're as confused as I am. Remember, always 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday night. Thanks for being here. There's 24 of y'all. We got Mark from 403 Fauna is going to be on the show tonight. Stick around. If you haven't met Mark before, like, obviously I'm going to tell you to stick around and meet him because I want you to watch the show. But Mark's one of the most consistent, diligent, and frankly, just nice, kind people, at least to me. He's been amazing to me, that I've met in the hobby and, you know, on the way to industry. And Mark was a really early supporter. So I'm just real happy to have him on. I'll tell you a little bit more about Mark after the announcements, but stick around. 403 Fauna, that's Mark out in San Diego. And I want to say thanks to any of his students that are tuning in tonight. Mark's a science teacher out there. Any of his students tuning in, I appreciate it. Guys, enjoy your time with this gem of a teacher that you got too, for whatever that's worth from one old dude, you know. They're not officially sponsors on this show. They're sponsors on other places in my channel and other places in the Proper Royals world. But you guys got to know, it's big news. Cold Blooded Cafe has a new promo code for you guys. If you used up the Proper 10, what's better than 10? This one goes to, you guessed it, 11. Proper 11. They're going to give you 11% off of your next order. I actually don't know how long it's good for. I don't know how many times you can use it. I didn't get into that minutia with them. Go use it. Go enjoy it. Happy Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy anything that you're celebrating. Happy save a little bit of cash when things are very expensive and we're all slaves to these rodents to feed our ball pythons. Proper 11 at Cold Blooded Cafe is going to get you 11% off of your next order. Huge shout out. No affiliation. There's no business deal, no payroll, none of that. But huge shout out to the Snakes and the Fat Man 15 Minutes of Lame contest. We all have heard me talk. I've spoken very clearly about this. I think it's a brilliant idea that Chris managed to get, you know, our whole little biosphere of this little section of the world talking about the same thing for like a month, and love it, hate it, whether you like Chris, don't like Chris. Everybody's really active. Everybody's really engaged. There's so much cross promotion going on. There's so much support for each other. So I really love it. And the people that are competing, the men and the women that are competing, good luck to you. Keep the content coming. You're almost to the halfway point. I don't specifically endorse anybody. I've got some sponsors that are competing. I've got friends that are competing. So I'm out there, I'm out there in the ether, but it's pretty fun. I've gotten to get in on a couple of videos, and I even made one of my own, and I'm not even in the contest. So you can see those reels on Instagram if you just want to kick. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, last week I had a full beard. Somewhere this week I had a most ridiculous Fu Manchu mustache you've ever seen. And now I look like I'm a normal human being again, except that I'm wearing a chef coat in the middle of a snake room in a basement in Minnesota. All that aside, go check out the reels. Good luck to all the contestants. Thanks to Chris for putting this on and keeping the energy going on it. I love it. Have fun with it, everybody. Big thanks to any supporters, customers, etc. I can't believe it. November, I had Minnesota. You got to pay sales tax monthly, so I have to pay my. I don't have like this thing that builds up each year, and then either I have more or less. I have to pay my sales taxes every month. Yes, I'm legitimate. Yes, I pay sales tax, even on cash things. I don't mark up my prices. The tax is included in the price. I do pay it. And I bring that up because turns out when I was paying my November sales taxes, I crunched all the numbers in November. November was my biggest month of the year. I can't believe it. I'm in a new market. I can't ship out of this market. And November turned out to be one of the best sales, not one of it, it's turned out to be my best sales month of the year so far. And this is my best year ever. So November was my best month ever. So thank you all very, very much. I appreciate it. I still got a bunch of inventory, good stuff to move. Price points from $40 for some normals, or if you want to make a wholesale offer, up to, a couple thousand. There's something for everybody in there. I can't ship to you for, I don't know how long, till springtime, till March. But if you want to make payments, deposits, the snake's not going anywhere. I may as well get some cash flow. You may as well get an interest-free payment plan. And I get the snake to you in the springtime. There you go. If you live in the Minnesota, Twin City areas, Rochester, Western Wisconsin, I'll deliver to you myself. I can get you a snake before Christmas. Hit me up. Let me know. All my contact information is down below in the description. The last thing you can do is email me at properroyals@gmail.com, and I'll put you on my inventory list. Excuse me. I got all fired up. Tuesday nights, I eat dinner, and then I come straight down to the show. I had pizza. My throat's all dry. Tomorrow, Thursday, I will send out the current month, December current inventory list available. If you're watching this on the replay and you want it, and it's after Thursday, just email me. I'll forward you the current list, even if it's after Thursday, but I'll send out the mass email tomorrow on Thursday. So email me if you want to check out what I have available. I appreciate all the support. Thanks for a great month. You're making me feel very, very welcome here in Minnesota. What else do I have? I think that's it for I got one more announcement. This Sunday, I will be at the Exotic Pet Fair Expo. That's Ed and Emily from Snake Discovery show. It's in Bloomington, Minnesota, but that's like Minneapolis. That's where the airport's in Bloomington. So Minneapolis, whatever the international airport's called, that's in Bloomington. So that's really right in the metro area of Minneapolis. I'll be vending that show this weekend. Sunday, one-day show. Come on out. Sunday fun day show. And it's the last one of the year. I'd love to end with a bang. And it's going to be pretty cool. Even if you don't want to come see me, Ed and Emily from Snake Discovery will be there. It's their show. And I saw Dave Kaufman. Yeah, Dave Kaufman. He's vending. He's got a table. He's going to be there. And then some really cool ball python breeders. Kyle from Kyle's Reptiles will be there. MBK, that's Mark and Krista here in town. They'll be there. Come hang out. Come see some animals. Maybe you buy one. Maybe you fall in love with one. Maybe you just come hang out. Last one of the year. This Sunday, I'll see you. I believe it's at the Sheraton in Bloomington, Minnesota. That's just outside of, it's Minneapolis. It's you're in the traffic, you're in the Beltway. You know what I'm talking about. So there we go. That's what I got for announcements tonight. Mark at 403 Fauna. Mark was. I had to go back and look. In my mind, I had that he was either the number one, the very first, or the very second guest that was ever on the show. But he's actually the third guest that was on. Stephen and Courtney from Leviathan Snakes helped me out on the first couple episodes. And then I forgot. I didn't give enough credit to him. Kai from Lucas Land and Royals, he was on like my second or my third live episode, and he came back for a second one in a row, which was kind of neat. At the time, it didn't occur to me that was sort of imposing and kind of not really what I would do right now. Generally, I don't do back-to-back guests usually, but Kai helped me out. And then it was Mark from 403 Fauna. And Mark and I were kind of starting out at the same point at that time. And he had some more experience than I had. He had been in ball pythons, gone through some life changes, and then had stepped away from ball pythons, came back to ball pythons. And that's when he was on the show. So I still learning a little bit from Mark. But the other thing I always remember about Mark is one of the very first people, again, I'd have to check the records, but who bought like a real snake from me. It was right at the end of like the COVID gold rush. People had money. Snakes were flying off the shelves for good money. And I remember like my first clutch, it was from this hypo banana who's I've since realized that she's hypo. She's producing these electric banana babies. Mark buys one. And I remember being blown away like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And there's like, I don't remember exactly what he paid for it, but I can remember that it was like a few days at a good job's worth of work. I was like, that's a few days. I wouldn't have to go to work if I could do that a lot. So I'm really, really glad to have Mark back on the show. He hasn't been on in about a year, I think. And I'm always happy to have him. Please welcome back for at least the third time, maybe more, to the Proper Royals stage, Mark from 403 Fauna. Mark, how you been, man?
Good. It's thanks for having me on here. I do remember those early days, and I remember, I think you emailed me asking if I wanted to do it, and I was kind of uncomfortable at the time, and then I decided to finally do it, and here we are.
You know what I guess maybe I'm getting old too, but I've been at it long enough where there's like a little like almost like nostalgia or looking back, but then also too, it's really cool. Credit to you because you're still at it, still progressing, still moving forward. And that was kind of that was the genesis for the show theme this week was, hey, how many people do we know that have sold their collections that couldn't keep up the work? We were talking some in the green room, you know, you're taking on more work. You still got the snakes, higher ambitions than ever, and you're still making it work. And there's a million reasons tied up in that little statement for people to walk away, and you're still doing it. So when I thought of that too, I was like, this is cool, man. I'm glad to have you back on.
Yeah, it's when I got back into it, my goal was to just slowly build things up until I retire. And by the time I retire, I'll have the snakes that I wanted and everything. But you know how ball pythons are. They're like chips. You eat one, you got to have more. And so, boom, it seems like overnight. I
was going to ask you, I actually have it on my show notes here. And of course, you know me, I'm always trying to phrase things from either a business or a hobby standpoint, but what percentage of your snakes do you hold back? And do you feel any pressure from a business standpoint, or is this primarily still a hobby standpoint for you? And my thought is, if it's a hobby standpoint, you probably get to hold back like everything. Like if you're like, I kind of like it, throw it in a rack, right?
I'm still in that hobbyist phase right now. Again, when I started, I've gave myself 10 years to learn business, and I've held back a lot so far. And, you know, most of my babies, they hatch right before the shipping deadline. So I didn't want to, I wanted to make sure all my babies are on frozen thawed before I ship them out. So that takes a few months. And by that time, the shipping window is closed. So by the start of the new year, I should have a good amount of animals ready to go.
That's a nice pitch too. Like you're good and solid if they're eating on frozen thawed. If they've gone through the first winter, you know that they're healthy, stout animals. They can handle the shipping, all of that. It takes a little bit of time to hold that. Now, are you producing enough now that do you still have inventory if you could ship that would meet those criteria from 2022, or have you blown all the 2022s out?
The 2022s, I managed to sell all except one. I still have one male, and I guess it's breeding size already. I might give it a go this year with him. But I did only have 6 clutches in 2022, and I held back a lot because these early stages, you want to make those double heads and stuff like that. And so I produced a lot of females. I got a bunch of double head DG clowns that'll be ready next year. There's one that might go this year even, but I've been holding a lot back. This year I had 11 clutches, and yeah, that's quite a workload. I don't know how these guys be doing 30 clutches a year, but I took on another class as a teacher, and at this point, 11, 12 seems to be my max. I should be a lot clearer next year, but yeah, it's a lot, even just 11 clutches.
It is a lot. And I remember, I tell the story often on the show. I mean, I remember even just having that first year of having those 2 clutches, and those babies came when I was still running restaurants, and it came in the height of my season. And I remember just being like, this is too much, man. There's too much going on here. And it was 2 clutches. It was 13 babies. I remember to this day, I got a clutch of 6 and a clutch of 7. And then, like you say, then the following year, I think there was 7 and then 11. And this year was like 15. And now I'm looking into doing what you're talking about, 30. But I'm working from home very little. When I say very little, I work my butt off. But as far as like where I have to be at a given time for somebody else is very little. So I have that freedom. But yeah, I wouldn't know. Just going to get feeders for 30 hatchlings and making sure that every week you have those. And, you know, when they're really small, I don't know about you, I like to try and get them 2 meals. If they're going, I want to try and get them 2 meals a week. Till I get those first 5 or 6 meals in them, and then I'll back them to once a week. So yeah, then you get. Now, do you raise any rats for your hatchlings or rodents for your hatchlings, or what's your strategy on that?
Yeah, I really ramped up the rodent production prior to baby season, and so I am breeding rats right now. But as soon as I could get them on frozen thawed, I just leave them on frozen thawed. I still got like, I don't know, maybe 10 babies that are still eating live, which, yeah, that's comfortable for me.
Yeah. Are you doing rats at home, or are you able to double dip at school? Is there a place you can work them at school, or because I know sometimes you bring your animals in, or maybe you can't say, I don't know. Maybe you have like a secret, like janitor's closet of a rat rack.
I've done rats here at school, and I don't want to do it again here. The smell is too much.
I believe it, man.
I do have a converted garage at home that they're being kept at the moment, so it's not too bad. I did try a shed last year, but it wasn't like a wooden shed. It was just a pop-up shed, and it worked decently, but not that great. So I do currently have them in the garage right now.
Gotcha. One thing, so I'm dabbling in well, about to be a whole lot more than dabbling. I'm about to be full on breeding ASFs myself, but I'm dabbling in the rodents here. And I'd always sort of thought I would be once I learned that I was moving to Minnesota. So I started picking my friends' brains in Florida, and everybody told me the heat's what you got to worry about. They love the cold, no problem. Cold is fine. Cold in Florida is the heat here. The cold here, and nobody has rats here right now because they totally shut down in the cold. Unless you have the heating firepower to heat your garage or your shed to 68 or 70 here, nobody has them. I had this one little Instagram channel, Proper Rodents, that I kicked off. I've never listed that I actually have any for sale. And I got people calling me, hey, I need rats. What do you have? Or I need rodents. What do you have? I'm helping somebody locally out because I got to go pick up some animals tomorrow. And I'm picking up an animal for them because they live south of me and they're going to meet. And she was like, hey, can you spare like 30 weans? I'm like, no, I'm on a regimented list of what I got, man. So it's pretty crazy actually up here. And it was so funny because I didn't think much of the cold. I was like, oh, everybody in Florida says, don't worry about the cold. So what do you see? I know San Diego's a little bit more moderate temperatures than Florida, but is it just flatline year round there in San Diego? I mean, or do you get much of a winter?
It does get cold to me, but at night it can get into the 40s.
Okay.
That's like deep in winter. Right now we're getting like 55. So it's not too bad. That's the outside though, but I'm inside the house.
Right. And do you run heat for the rodents?
I keep it at 65, my heat, but during the day the house heats up to almost 80. The temperature fluctuation at this time of year goes from like 80 to 50 from
you got the diurnal swings. Yeah. That's why California is great for the grapes. That's why it gets even stronger in the Napa Valley area. I mean, you can have 67, not 70. You can have 60-degree diurnal swings, but that's a whole different story. Phil is, the kilowatt hours it's funny. I watch that now. I have solar panels, and I can track my usage and what I'm producing. And let me tell you, wintertime in Minnesota is no production of electricity. But I see how much I use, and I see the variance of what the owners before me were using versus what I'm using. And it's funny because I watch that now because I don't want to get in a position where I want to choose between lowering the cost, basically keeping the lights on, and then sacrificing rodent production. So those are the things when I said I'm going to be dabbling, I'm dabbling in it right now, but I'll be full on breeding here very soon. So anyhow, maybe I got to get Phil on maybe to have just a electrical show one of these days. Mark, have you seen, I think you and Phil are familiar with each other. Have you seen his solar and battery stuff that he runs?
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
On Instagram. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I also want to send a shout out to Jason from Rad-As Designs. He was the one who actually supplied me with my rodents, and big shout out to him.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that. Yeah. Jason's, he's a great supporter to me. I'm thankful for him. He's one of the Patreon members. Keeps the chat going. Like if there's ever a downtime, like Jason's busy, because otherwise this chat would be going. So yeah, Jason's awesome, and a good person. I've gotten to know him a little bit. Definitely a good person. So I didn't know that you all had connected, or that he was your rodent supplier for sure.
I might as well announce this here now since we brought up Jason, but me and him will be doing a live on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
I know the live, it's pretty crowded, but we're trying to do something different. We're still planning things out, and hopefully in the new year we'll kick it off.
Nice. I didn't know that. We got breaking news here. Now I feel like, I'm like, wait a minute, you're doing the Patreon. Like Jason should be breaking this news. Like I shared my crazy mustache with the Patreon before anybody ever saw it on Instagram. Oh man, I'm disappointed, Jason. I'm telling you, man. No, that's cool. All right. So tell anything you want to share about that. When will people be able to see you? What's kind of the driving vision on it?
Well, my motivation was you. I love your morning coffee Joe show.
Oh, thank you, man.
I brought that up to Jason, and also the Holdback Rack podcast. My favorite segment on there is their news segment. So we're gonna do a news live, which just covers things that have happened. I think we'll probably have it either bi-weekly or monthly, just so that the news can accumulate and we can give our opinions on that stuff.
There you go.
We're gonna start things off slow, and Jace, he's been good at kind of motivating me to up my game as far as podcast tools and microphones and stuff like that. I was just gonna have it on my computer or phone or whatever. Then he's telling me, I'm gonna get a professional microphone and laptop and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes.
There you go. So at what point do you start, or maybe you already have, which would be a great answer, but at what point do you start tracking these expenses? I mean, you can endeavor to build a business before you have revenue, and you can get those early, just like you were talking about earlier, building up your double hets early. Those early year productions are really important. Those early year deductions are really important too, because they always outweigh early revenue in ball pythons.
Right. You know what? As I said, I'm just trying to learn this business as it goes. And I just barely got monetized on YouTube. And I'm just seeing, I'm making like $2 a day, which to me is just fantastic. Yeah. I can't imagine what you're making with all your shows and everything, but
I got bad news for you, brother. My last 30 days, I've made $68. So I'm making just a little more than that $2 a day amount.
Oh my gosh.
No, all joking aside, that's a true statement from YouTube. My YouTube payout was like $68. I check it. I don't check the payout. I check the, for those of y'all that don't have a YouTube page, there's like a home-based dashboard that you can log in. It'll give you real time. The center of the page, one of the stats is what you've made in the past rolling 30 days. So I see it if it blips, or if I see like, actually today there was like 6 new subscribers, and I was like, what video blew up? Like sometimes they just catch fire, but I haven't been producing anything but lives lately. So I didn't know what it was. Sometimes you just get these weird blips on the radar. But yeah, what's that?
My students are subscribing to you, so you should get.
Oh, do they get extra credit to subscribe?
Yeah.
Nice. Now we're talking. Shoot.
Subscribe, like, comment,
right.
things like that.
Oh man, if I have far too much respect for you and your classroom, but part of me wants to be like, look, guys, you're only going to get 1 point for a like, but a subscribe, you're going to get 5 extra points on the extra credit. If you like, subscribe, comment, and share, you just get an A. That's just it. You're just done. You can just make it work, man.
For the record here, I got monetized before I told my students to subscribe to my YouTube. So once I do get monetized, I put it out there. Hey guys, subscribe to my YouTube. So my subscribers just bumped up a lot, and that's helping fuel my $2 a day I got here.
Well, so Carlos at Elevated Morphs out in Colorado. Carlos, thanks, man. That's very, very cool. That will go to some snake poo funds. I'll be buying. What will I be buying now? I will be buying black oil sunflower seeds to be giving to the ASFs, and that will go a long way in that. Guys, check out Carlos out at Elevated Morphs. He's got cool stuff going on. He's been a good friend of the show too. Mark, you mentioned just a second ago that you were monetized before you ever told any of the kids. So first off, I would say take any opportunity you can to get what you need. So no shame if you hadn't waited for that. But do you remember the name of the show or the show title topics that I gave the very first show you were on?
No, I don't.
That's okay. I didn't either. I just had to look it up, but it fit perfectly. It was called The Little Guys and Social Media is what it was called.
Yep.
And so even cooler now, you've got, so right here today, I just checked in my show prep on YouTube, you have 1,940 subscribers. So you're coming up on the 2,000 subscriber benchmark. Hey audience, hint, pay attention here. 1,940 subscribers on YouTube, and on Instagram you have 4,931 subscribers. So you're coming up on 2,000 and on 5,000. You're 60 away on YouTube. YouTube subscribers are a little harder to get than Instagram subscribers. So, but what do you just know? You know your channels better than I do. Which one's going to hit the 5,000 or the 2,000 first?
I think the 2,000, because Instagram, for whatever reason, I've been stuck at that number for the longest time.
Really?
The reason I'm close to 5,000 is because of this guy back here.
Yeah, we got to talk about him.
I posted one video, boom, 1 million views. And of course, that's going to get a lot of eyes on your Instagram. But I think I'll hit 2,000 first. The reels get you a lot of subscribers, or the what do they call it?
The reels on Instagram, yeah. Oh, on YouTube, shorts.
Shorts get you a lot of subscribers on there. And I notice I post a short, I get like 10 subscribers easy. So if anyone out there wants to get some subs on their YouTube, do those shorts. But you want to get monetized, it's all about the minutes viewing your videos. And I've got a couple of videos that did really well, which helped monetize me. Anytime you talk about the market, that video is going to do really well. And that market, my last market video, I got 5,000 views on it, and that just blew my mind. And that was only like a week or two ago.
I saw that, and it's actually closer to 6,000 now. I saw it. I saw it last night, and I was like, because I checked. Oh, when I was checking the numbers for your channel, it was the first one that showed up, and it said like, maybe it said 4.8, but I think it said 5.8 thousand. And I was like, Mark's getting 6,000 views of video. What's going on here? And I look at the others, and they're a little more, kind of what we're all doing. But yeah, that one had really shot up there. So, what was your hot take, and what was your condensed take on the market in that video?
I was just comparing the prices from 2022 to now, and how Desert Ghost has dropped 75% in price. I was showing it with examples that I have. The snake that I bought in 2022 was $2,000. Now it's $500. So it caught a lot of eyes. It seems like Desert Ghost. I had a Desert Ghost video trying to explain the polygenics of it all.
I saw that one as well. I was like, I'm not even going down this rabbit hole. That's kind of the evergreen stuff, though. Like, people forever are going to be like, wait a minute, because they'll have Desert Ghost if they're new to it, and then somebody will say to them, well, is it A? Is it B? Is it A, B? And they're like, what are you talking about? So, I mean, that's going to be a Google. Would that be a verb? Googleable topic for a long, long time.
And I've got another video coming up soon because it looks like the data is pointing at it to being a simple recessive. So I'm going to use the data that RGI put out and just do a video off that. So it'll be interesting.
Well, hang on. So you're going to wait. So it's going to be a video that refutes RGI's data?
No, it shares the data and shows how Desert Ghost is a simple recessive.
And not the polygenetic, I think was the word that was being thrown around.
It's all about the DGC. I don't think the A and B matter, but it's looking like the DGC is what is contributing to it. And their data shows that it's simple recessive.
Is this because you're in the DG project and you needed to rebound from the 75% that it's dropped?
Kind of, sort of, no. But it really is looking like that. I'll take a really look at the data and share that out.
You'll be the hero of the community if that takes fire, man. Like, everybody will be sharing that, you know. I have to admit, I have slightly educated myself on the topic, but by and large, I've ignored it because I don't have DG and I'm not going to take on a new project, especially with those question marks now. So I've taken the easy way out, which I readily admit, which I shouldn't, especially given that I have a platform and, you know, claim to represent the ball python community. But that, I'm going to have to watch that now. I'll be interested to see that, Mark. And that's a cool thing. And the market is crazy. It's hard, but it's always hard. If it were easy, we'd all be doing it. And we saw what happened when we were all doing it. That made it even harder coming out the other side of it. So I think any industry has tough markets. I'm not so worried about tough markets, but DG got the double whammy. They had the overall tough market, and then they got a pinpoint strike against them. So you're arguing that all those people that bought DG might be the one that acts sort of like a stock rather than a permanent decline. Like this could hit a bottom and then bounce is what we're thinking.
We'll see.
Okay. All right.
Hey, shout out to Brandon Nixon in the chat. I've been voting for you all the time on the 15 minutes of lame. I know it's kind of a runaway now with a couple of other people, but Brandon's my vote, and hopefully
I would say we're only 12 days into the competition. That means there's 13 more days to go. People only have to perform as well as the people did on the front end, on the back end to match them. So I don't know if it has to be a runaway. Plus, I want to do something cool with Brandon. I don't know. I can't hang with his camera abilities. He might not let me in one of his reels. I'm not sure.
Maybe I should get my students to vote for Brandon one day and see how that affects the voting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there have been more nefarious things done in the past, as far as I understand it. But isn't that why they cap how much the voting counts for?
Yeah, it's 25%, and then the other 3 judges are the deciding factors.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
all right.
Also, thank you for having me on, considering everybody's doing the rounds on all the podcasts for that 15 minutes of lame, and you have little old me here. So thank you so much for that.
Hey, you're welcome. I actually ducked a few of the contestants the entrants did ask if they could come on. And I said, you know what? Last year I kind of turned into this 6-7 week, just 15 minutes of lame thing showcase, which was cool. And I was interested in it, but I still left a lot of people out. and it kind of consumed the content. Like I like having sort of fresher content. So what I did, there's a few people, and I won't say who, but there are a few people who have said, hey, you know what? Let's get through January 1st. And I'd love to have you on where we don't have to just make it vote for me about the contest kind of thing. So I have been a little bit more active in participating in other people's reels. I did one with Portuguese with jaw-dropping morphs. And I know I think Jared has another video coming out with my content in it with him. So it's been fun that way, but I actually purposefully steered away from contestants this year.
Yeah, especially scrolling Instagram, I kind of want to just look at snakes and then all the reels pop up, which is awesome for it, but it can get overwhelming.
It can, and that's why when Chris was on and he said, oh yeah, he said it was only a month long. And I was like, a month? That felt like it was an eternity last year. And he goes, it was. I cut it down to a month this year. I said, oh, okay. All right. That makes sense then. So anyhow, yeah, but I think it's, as I said in the intro, I think it's really, it provides a new set of, maybe not new set, it provides a new energy in our world for the time being. And like you say, we're not necessarily looking at snakes. We're all doing these dumb things on reels and stuff, but it gets the community engaged and interactive. There was people commenting on my wife's line in the reel today. She's not on the camera anywhere. She's just yelling something at me about a mustache, or about the contest, and people were commenting on that. So in that way, it's kind of neat to cross brand and ride this wave of momentum and that kind of thing. So I do like it. But yeah, I dug myself a hole last year because then I felt obligated if I let one person come on. I pretty much didn't tell anybody no last year. And I was like, anyway, it felt like what I didn't want to go through this year. Yeah, Brandon, that mustache was ridiculously cringy. My son came home from school today. He's like, Dad, you shaved. Why'd you do that? And I was like, I can't go out in public looking like that. I had a lot of errands to run today. Yeah, I don't know. That's a pretty. I hadn't thought of it that way. Leviathan says, I think more collabs have happened due to the 15 minutes of lame than any other event in the reptile community. Probably true. I can't remotely think of something that would come close. So yeah. So I mean, in that way, it's a cool phenomenon. And anyhow, it's a neat time of year. I wouldn't say I'll be happy when it's over. I'll be happy to have a little more snake content when it's over, but it's kind of cool right now, for December. So tell us about Mark. How often do you post on a regular, or do you hold yourself to a regular schedule when you post your YouTube content? Do you just do it when things inspire you? Where are you at these days in that area? What's your process?
I remember last year at this point, I had just hit 1,000 subs, and I wanted my goal for 2023 to be 2 videos a week. And for the most part, I did do that, but minimum, I will do 1 video a week, sometimes more. And I've started to add some shorts on there. I know for me personally, when I'm scrolling my list of YouTube subscriptions, I don't like seeing a lot of shorts on there because I would just rather like to watch long videos on ball pythons, but it does get the subs in for those content creators. So minimum 1 long video a week and perhaps a shorter one during the week and some shorts.
Yeah. I find I find a few thoughts. One, the shorts is kind of the YouTube answer, the Google answer to the Meta Reels. And I get that, but it feels like it hasn't taken off, at least here. And when I say here, I guess I mean in our community. Maybe I'm thinking America, but at least in our community, it seems like people go to Instagram for that short content. But you're right. It does drive subs. And you know, it's kind of the hip thing to say, oh, we don't care about clicks and that stuff, but it also does bring more eyes to the channel and more eyes to other videos. So I do find it very valuable. And it's sort of like, if you're going to play the game, why not play it to the full extent? So in that way, you know, I could be way better about posting shorts. I found this year I fell off on my traditional YouTube video production. One, because I added a second show live. The lives do pretty well with the interaction, and the audience interaction is fantastic on the lives. Now, it's a fairly narrow audience. I mean, when it's a big viewership of 80 people, that's a big night if 80 people watch it live. On the other hand, that's 80 people interacting, which is really cool. And then, you know, those videos average between 500 and 1,000 views each. I don't know what it was. Have you found that like, the more I've learned about YouTube, the more I want to put like into every video. And suddenly I found myself making 25, 30, 35-minute videos that were taking me 2-3 weeks to edit and get done. And like, I don't know. I have trouble. My goal in 2024 is to get back to making like 6 to 10-minute videos that I can get out regularly, do 2 a month. You know, if I can do 24 traditional videos next year, that'll be great, kind of thing. Do you find yourself running up against any of those challenges, or what's your experience been?
Now, when I was going into it, it was, I want to make my videos easy to do. And so most of my videos, I don't have my face in it, because if I have my face in it, I got to rehearse. I've got to think of lines and stuff like that. So it's just, boom, let's put a snake in front of the camera and I could talk about the snake. And that's allowed me to put out a video, a 10-minute video in like an hour. I just edit it all on my phone and upload it, and I'm done with it. So
really? Oh, do you edit all your videos on your phone?
Yeah, just my iPhone.
Really? Oh
editing.
my gosh. When you get the laptop, you're going to fly through editing. It's so much faster and easier. I mean, and you use an iMovie on it? Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so much faster on a laptop.
Yeah.
Man. You're gonna feel it. You're getting
it, so hearing you say that, maybe in 2024 I'll get a laptop.
It's a quantum leap, man. I mean, and get an Apple. Your worlds will, I mean, if you have an iPhone now, your worlds will intersect beautifully between the two devices. But yeah, oh my gosh, like I say, it's a quantum leap of what you'll be able to edit and how fast you'll be able to edit and that kind of stuff. And in my opinion, I never could on my phone. I was terrible on my phone, but I have trouble editing reels on my phone. I can't imagine doing a 7 or 8 minute video on. Holy cow.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I'll give it a shot.
No, I'm blown away. Like I'm saying it like I'm impressed, not like, I don't know what the analogy, like when I'm in the kitchen and I see guys that can chop like crazy that would never even use a blender. And I'm like, man, I don't know how you do it. And you have all your fingers still. That's like the moment of awe where I'm like, oh my gosh, you're doing that. Not like, dummy, he's doing that. I didn't mean it that way, but I'm impressed, man. I wouldn't have thought so. I didn't catch that. How do you you record your whole voice and then you lay it on top of the video all on your phone?
I just speak while I'm recording, and that's it.
I love it, man.
Pull one snake out. I'll talk for a minute or two about that snake. That's done with that. Pull out another one, a minute or two, and I just splice it all together, and there's my video.
Yeah. No, really cool, man. Well, really cool. So, yeah, so remind me, I know this time last year you were coming up on 1,000. What'd you say that your goal was for this year?
I honestly didn't think I would get close to 2,000. That wasn't really a goal, a number, but my goal simply was just to do 2 videos a week. And
okay, that's right. Yeah.
By doing that, it grew my audience, and I'm on the cusp of 2,000 now.
So I always say to people, just start producing, stay consistent at producing, and let Google use the magic of Google. YouTube's owned by Google. Let Google use the magic of Google to find your people. It's going to find you. Can you imagine? Like, do you ever step back and go, 2,000 people is a lot of people. Like, what an audience, right? Like,
it's incredible. I've got regulars that comment on all my videos, and thank you so much for those regulars that do that. And it's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And it's something that I still just find in awe of. I mean, whether it's these lives, and I know everybody's like, oh, or they think, I don't know. Sometimes people say things like, well, sorry, how's the best way to put this? In my mind, I'm still just a little guy trying to figure this out, going, hey, this will be neat, and I got to build my brand somehow. So I'll give this a shot. And I don't step back sometimes and go, man, I think I'm reaching a lot more people than I realize, or having some effect, or clearly people have faith in me from, I'm blown away by the sponsorships and that kind of thing, or to think that this can be some avenue to some income that could replace a career at some point. And that's mind boggling. And that is literally the power of YouTube finding the right people. And I guess along the way, YouTube kind of trained me, hey, this is really good. Keep doing this. I'll give you a bunch of clicks. This is bad. Don't do this. You get 0 views on this. Like, it kind of coaches us along the way too.
It's 100% consistency. And I know we're both part of that COVID generation. And my start was just in between classes, being at home. My TV's right there. I just pop YouTube on, and I'd see all these YouTube videos about ball pythons. And it's kind of a shame that a lot of those people that were doing videos back then aren't doing it no more. A lot of them are still breeding, but not doing the YouTube content, and which I really like them to do. But hey, I wonder if I'll ever get to that point where I'll be breeding some really cool stuff that I really won't have to do YouTube anymore. But I really love doing videos, so I can envision myself continuing that. And honestly, the best people in the business are the ones who are doing the videos, getting people excited about their snakes. Justin, Miguel, those guys consistently put out those videos. And I'm not going to say that I'm going to get to their point, but I could still put the video out content and try to get people excited, because that's what we need to do, is to get people excited about the ball pythons.
I agree completely. And I could tell you from a business standpoint, my business and my income wouldn't exist as a business without YouTube and Instagram and Facebook. Actually, I still sell a lot of animals on Facebook, or through Facebook. I don't post animals for sale on Facebook, but you can build your brand on Facebook, and then people reach out to you and you can build sales that way. So I use Facebook a whole lot. When other people have written it off, which is okay. I feel like it's a smaller or less competition sort of battleground. But I would tell you definitively, from my experience, my business couldn't exist without all of the media and all of the different platforms. It's not possible. Like, and that could be a double-edged sword, because there are weeks where I'm like, just want to relax. And it's like, no, you got to get your posts in. You got to keep your name and your brand out there. You got comments to answer. You have questions to answer. You have customers to interact with. And it's that service, it's that customer service. But I'm with you. I could not see a way for me to step back from what I'm doing without all of my business tumbling down. I don't know how people, I know they do, but I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they sell without social media these days. That's just me. I guess if you tank your prices low enough, you can do it, but I don't know how else to.
I've heard a lot of people having success with TikTok, and I do have a TikTok that has already gotten past 5,000 thanks to this guy again. And I got my first message yesterday about, hey, do you have a morph market? And I just throw like my Instagram reels on there. So I think I should explore TikTok as well. I have a Facebook, but I'm not really active on that. But from what you said, it looks like I need to get more active. But just having more things out there will just bring more people to you.
Yeah, it's a little bit like fishing. Well, there's all kinds of different fishing. Sometimes you see the fish and you cast to them, and other times you just You just throw it out there, see what happens. And it's a little bit that way. So on Facebook, all of my Instagram stuff reposts to Facebook. And once or twice a week, I'll make a Facebook only post so that it's not just the same regurgitated stuff. But believe it or not, Facebook is the only place where I actually spend ad money. I spend ad money every week on Facebook. And I started it off as I'll give it a test and I'll see. Immediately, I sold a snake from advertising. And it's about 3 to 5% of the average value of that I spend each week of the snake sale. That's a no-brainer. We spend that in PayPal fees or negotiate that without a thought. We'll negotiate down 3 to 5%. So it's been totally worthwhile. And every week that I've posted an ad, I've made at least one sale. And it's really helped me grow in this local market, being the new guy, because I spent years in Florida and in North Carolina building my brand. I didn't have years here in Minnesota to do it. Plus, I couldn't ship nationwide. I was like, I have got to ramp this local thing up. And that's what worked locally was those ad boosts for selling. And what's crazy is my Proper Royals Facebook page, it only has like 470 followers.
So it's all
it works.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And it seems like, because I see the same people commenting and liking all the time, and it still says that they've been invited to follow, but they're not following me. So it almost seems less important, excuse me, on Facebook than any of the other platforms as far as like the number of followers and stuff. So that's just been my experience, and that's really kind of dumb luck. Nobody really laid that out, other than I was like, I got to try something. And I saw a post from Darian, of all people, one day saying, "What if you could sell a $500 snake? Why wouldn't you spend $10 to run an ad?" And I was like, am I throwing money away if I do this? And boom, sold. I was like, okay, I'm doing it every week now. So that's what I do on there. You said you had you had 11 clutches this year. Is that correct?
Correct.
What were some of your favorites? What were some of the things that you held back?
I hatched a couple of desert ghosts. So with all the talk on the desert ghost, and from what I gathered, originally het to het was a little iffy. Like there's a chance that you will not ever produce some DGs from het to het pairings. So I was a little scared of that, but I did do a het to het pairing, and I got 2 desert ghosts, a pastel leopard, het clown, desert ghost. And the other one was amazing. It was so many genes in it. Nanny, yellow belly, Mojave, pastel leopard, desert ghost, het clown. So both females. And that was one of my best clutches, but I really did well on the VPI Xanthic puzzles. I didn't hatch a VPI Xanthic puzzle. It was double het to double het, but I got a pastel leopard VPI Xanthic that looks like a puzzle. When I cut it out of the egg, I was like, oh my gosh, I got it. But I pulled it out, and it's got to be the het puzzle showing through. So I'm really excited about that one. And actually, I did bring a couple of snakes to school today. Do you mind if I share them?
No, please do, man.
So I've got this contest running. Well, not a contest really, but a giveaway running on my YouTube. And I plan to do this every year just for a Christmas giveaway. I gave away a snake last year. And this year I'm giving away, let's see, this is a hidden gene Woma, yellow belly, het for clown, and 50% possible het ultramel male. And I'll be giving him away along with a female normal het for cryptic or clown, and 50% possible het ultramel. And I was going to give a free shed test for ultramel away. I was going to buy it, but then Charlie from Gray Rider Reptiles, he messaged me and said, hey, you know what, I'll do that shed test for free for you. So really amazing. Thank you so much, Charlie, if you're still around. I hope your furnace is okay. But I know he's a sponsor for you. But
yeah, he's the man. Yeah.
I'll be giving away this along with a female for free. Check out the video on my YouTube. It's titled giveaway or something like that. And all you got to say is a phrase which is Hidden Gene Woma Come Out and Play. I was thinking of that movie, The Warriors, when the guy with Coke bottles, Warriors come out and play. So that's where it came from. And,
I'm terrible with movie references. I have no earthly idea what you're talking about.
and let me show you the sister. This one's not going to be given away, but it's a Hidden Gene Woma Mojave that is also het for cryptic or clown and 50% possible het ultra male. Now, with the Hidden Gene Woma and the Bell Complex, they create what's called a soul sucker. So
Yep.
this is a soul sucker right here. And it's just amazing what Mojave does with Hidden Gene Woma. You think it's got to be like some allelic complex, but no, it's just a crazy combo that occurs between those two. I might have one or two of these available, so keep an eye on my YouTube.
This is like jumping into one of your videos. I feel like I'm watching one of your videos. This is like the pace that you talk at, the in-depth description that you go to. You can hear the joy in your voice with it. It's really cool.
Yeah, you know what? You got to try to convey how excited and how much you love these animals.
That's true.
To get other people excited, and that's what I try to do. When I watch my videos, I'm like my biggest customer on YouTube. For whatever reason, I start falling asleep, so I'm hoping my audience doesn't do that. Well, maybe that might be a good thing because they would end up watching the whole video. So
anytime I can't sleep, I turn on one of those like Our Planet things with David Attenborough, and it's like the most beautiful scenery, the calming voice, and just like you say, boom, I'm out, and Netflix like plays like all 5 of them. So like the ratings are through the roof, and I've watched like 12 minutes of it, you know. Did you actually, hang on, I got one topic we'll get to in a second I was going to ask about. Let's do speaking of some sponsors that you mentioned, Charlie at Gray Rider. He owns shedtesting.com. If you're not familiar with shedtesting.com, go check it out. It's just what you think it is. You can send in your sheds for tests, and for being a Proper Royals viewer, use the promo code PROPER15. You're going to get 15% off of 2 shed tests from Charlie. I guarantee that the service is great. I guarantee it's a very fast turnaround time. When I talked to Charlie about sponsoring the show, anybody who's interested in sponsoring, I always do kind of a meet and greet. I want to understand their business. I want to understand what they're about, and I want to make sure that they're good partners for the show and for the audience. And Charlie's drive to ensure every customer satisfaction. Now, he's going to give you the honest results. He can't just make everybody happy, tell you what you want to hear. But I'm talking about delivering honest, accurate results, the care that he puts into the tests, the follow-up that he gives to the customer. Incredible. Go check him out. He's worth your time. I promise you. Already great prices. You're going to get 15% off more. Similar with REDLINE shipping. They've changed the shipping industry for reptiles. Absolute best customer service in the game, in my opinion. Super reliable. They have great prices to begin with, but if you use promo code PROPER5, you're going to get an extra $5 off. Up top, check it out. That's Brandon Nixon right there, the guy in orange. If you haven't seen him, go check out his Instagram. Primo camera work on his reels. He is in the 15 minutes of lame competition, and he specializes in orange projects like Sunset, Ultramel, Monarch, and Hypo. Go check out his Instagram. You're going to see very, very quickly how detail-oriented, how clean, how crisp, how precise he is in what he does. I know that translates into his snakes as well. Go check him out. That's Brandon Nixon. Next is Portuguese Pythons. They're out in Chino, California. That's Danny and Renee. You click on their YouTube, their Instagram. First, you're going to see a wall of snakes. Second, you're going to see a massive mustache. And behind the mustache and the snakes are wonderful people. They specialize in some pretty high-end combos. I know they've got some Ultramel Pieds that are available, and they've just hatched and combos within that project. Hets, double hets, all the ingredients you would need for really some great combos. And again, just really wonderful people. That's Danny and Renee Rocha out in Chino, California. Portuguese Pythons, Ball Labs. That's Trevor. He's in Aurora, Colorado. He's the newest sponsor on the show. I was really, really impressed when I spoke with him and got to learn a little bit about his business. He's been at this for over 15 years, breeding ball pythons, keeping ball pythons and reptiles for over 20 years. And then my favorite part was when I was like, well, tell me a little bit about what you're working with. And he says, well, I'm really excited about working with my monsoon, zebra, and sunset stuff. And I said, okay, you have my attention. And then he said, but hang on, I don't want to scare people off. He's working with puzzle, ultramel, clown, VPI axanthic, and tri-stripe as well. So check them out, Ball Labs. All of these sponsors' information is down below in the description. Last but not least, and thank you for sitting through this, all 40 of you, because these are the people that take care of me and make this possible for me to do. So I'm very thankful that you watch this. Last but not least is B and S Reptilia. That's Chris. Chris, if you're watching, I just got your Christmas card today. Really, really nice touch. A nice surprise in there. I won't ruin the surprise if anybody else has a Christmas card coming. But it made my day. You and your family have been wonderful to me. And you guys have great animals. It's B and S Reptilia because he specializes in all kinds of different species of reptiles. Incredibly knowledgeable, helpful, great ambassador for the community. Go check him out if you're looking for ball pythons, blood pythons, boas, locality boas. Pituophis, if you know what that means, he's your man for that. Various colubrids. The man has a huge variety of reptiles. He's also the chipper distributor for New Jersey. Thank you all very, very much. I am full on sponsors. If you're interested in a wait list, that's fine, but there is a foreseeable future where there's not an opening. I'm so thankful to these sponsors and for all that they allow me to do, which means I can focus on this content providing for y'all. So thanks very much. Go check them out. Tonight, we have Mark Jensen from 403 Fauna out in San Diego, who is on the show. Mark, I mentioned earlier that you were, I'm sorry, I switched these screens around and then it becomes distracting. There we go. Now I'm back in my element. You're one of the first like people that I like sold like a real snake to. And I don't know, you might have even bought it off a morph market or maybe you knew me and were just like, I'm interested. I was like, you are? Like, it was this really cool thing. I still remember. How's that girl doing? And do you want to tell the story a little bit of sort of, she hasn't literally evolved because she's exactly who she is, but there was sort of an evolution from when you bought her to what she is now.
Yeah, so I was interested in your bananas because they were het clown and possible het ghost. And I looked at all the ones that you had available and one just stood out. It was just like brighter than the others. So I chose that one. I also did buy an Orange Dream possible het pied female from you.
That's right.
Now, I did adopt that out to one of my students. So
cool.
It's been doing really well. I kind of wish I hadn't now that she'd probably be breeding size. But the banana het clown, possible het hypo, you reached out to me about you like proving out hypo or something. And then I noticed that it wasn't getting any banana spots on it. And maybe it could be possible hypo, or we thought maybe it's Mojave or Blade or something that was that. But as it's gotten older, it's faded even more. No banana spots. One of my latest videos actually has an update on it, but she's gorgeous. I really believe it's hypo, and I actually bought a hypo clown just to prove that out. And of course, that hypo clown will go to other things, but she might go this year. We'll see if she does. And
cool.
Prove that hypo out. But what's your
I didn't save. I saved 2 of those babies. Matter of fact, I'll show them. To this day, I still don't know 100% what's going on in that clutch. The dad of that clutch, as I recollect, I had paired 2 males. One was a Super Mojave hypo. So the other was a pastel clown. And I don't have those animals anymore. They've moved on. But to this day, 2 of the siblings, so yours was like this, and I remember it. I don't know what it looks like now. But at the time, it was like this electric yellow-green and almost had like a blue shadow or a blue iridescence to it as well in the light. And it's just this really bright, beautiful thing. So the mom has since proven to be, she is not only het hypo, she is hypo. I didn't know. I never seen an adult banana. She was the only adult banana I ever saw for like a year. Well, it turns out she's hypo. I didn't know that. I had no idea. So I'll show you two of the siblings from the ones that you've got. I sold there was another one that looked real similar to the one you got, and I sold that one. And actually that went to a pet owner in Utah, and I haven't heard from her in a long time. The others are out there in the world. I don't know where they're at, but these two siblings I kept back. Let me see. It's dark here. I usually don't take out the snakes at night because they might bite me, but let me see here. Hang on just a second.
You guys can check out Porkins while Adam's doing that.
So this male, and I know that we don't have a reference point for the audience because they can't see, but like this is sort of one of those times I get to take something personal on the show. This guy is much, much darker, and he's almost purple, and I'm trying to see if I can get it to focus on him. There it is. It's my eyes it's trying to focus on. So hang on a second here. See how dark he is, Mark, compared to that one?
Yeah, really good contrast on that one.
Yeah, he's got like purples and oranges to him, and almost looks like Ultramel maybe, but he's not. There's no Ultramel there. So that's him. That's one of the brothers, and he's breeding this year. And he actually sired a clutch last year. I've got some holdbacks of his babies that he went back to the mom, and I got hypos. Excuse me, that's not true. He did not go back to the mom. He went to another female, and I do have babies from him as well. The mom I put to a hypo, and all the babies were hypo. So this guy is het hypo, het clown for sure. Then there's one more that I held back. She hopefully will go this year. And she looks completely different as well. She's bright, vivid yellow. None of those oranges like that guy has. Really none of the purples. But much higher contrast than I think the one, sorry, not higher contrast, darker darks than the one that you picked up from me.
Is there spots on that one?
Very, very faint. There are a few, and sorry, the camera tries to focus on my eyes, so you can see a couple spots on the back there.
Much
very
less
few.
Yeah.
The other one has that orange one. He's got incredible spots. This one, very few. I don't think this one's hypo. I've never checked closely, and I certainly haven't tested, which I know is ironic since Charlie is now one of the sponsors. I've got to partner with Charlie. I feel like we need to do like a Shed Test Tuesday or something like once a month where we just do like results shows. I got to talk with him about that.
That'd be cool.
So anyhow, this girl, if she goes, it would be her going in later spring. She's really not quite big enough. But I did have one last year about this size that did ultimately go. If not, we'll see her next year, and I'll put the male to use. The male's in the rotation this year as well too for some other things. So we'll see what's up.
Checking out the chat here.
Sorry, that's another reason I don't like showing snakes is the dead air. Like it feels so awkward to hear the dead air in the background. I get like anxiety. I'm like, I got to get back. All right. So Mark, tell us about some goals looking forward this year coming up. You told us about the live you're doing with Jason at Radass. What else you got going on for this year?
Some of my projects this year, I'm hoping I produce a Desert Ghost Clown this year. I've got a pretty good shot at that, so fingers crossed for that. What else?
How many clutches are you going to go for?
On my paper, I've got 21 pairings.
Okay.
And do you have an ultrasound?
I do. I got converted. I converted to ultrasound, and I'm going to breed rodents. Like I don't know what this world's coming to. There's things that I just never thought I would be saying. I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have an ultrasound, so I'm just going to pair them and see what pops out. I don't expect all 21 to be there. but I'm thinking I'll get at least 12 to 15 clutches.
Sure.
And hopefully DG clowns, hopefully VPI Xanthic puzzles. And I'm not too sure about pieds. I might be getting out of pieds. What are your thoughts on pieds? Do you love pieds?
I do love pieds. Here's my hesitation. Creatively, I'm at this, like, I was going to say tough spot with pieds. That's not true. No, I still like pieds. I'm cool with pieds. I got to a point where I felt like I needed to make, here's what I'm trying to express. I felt like I needed to make a quantum leap because pieds are so nuanced with the various genes. You can have some really high-end stuff in pied and it still just look like a pied. But you can do really cool stuff like ultramel pieds that are incredible. Or, I think into just my own collection, I've got an orange dream pied that is absolutely gorgeous. She's a stunner. I cannot wait to breed that girl. So I am excited about pieds, but it's sort of a pretty narrow excitement. I've got to get really, really like pieds. Okay. So how do I put this? With clowns, I'd throw all kinds of genes into clowns. Like there's so much stuff still need to be done and weird things that'll come out and they'll look different. I don't know that that's the case with pied, and some things just don't do well in pied. Like I'm really, really high on the super gravel project. I want to see super gravel in ultramel. I want to see it in clown. I want it in that Xanthic leopard one I've seen floating around the internet. Unreal. I want to do all of those things. Super gravel and pied, it's such a challenge to make, and the reward is not that great. It's not that exciting to me. So it takes the right things, but I am still excited. Oh, and I hit my first dreamsicle this year. Only one, but I got one. So like I've got to stay excited for that. So I am excited for that. I've got some other cool building blocks, but it takes a little more long-term vision planning right now for me to get excited about pied. The flip side, I can't keep pieds on my table at shows. I mean, shoot, man. And they're fun to cut open too. Man, cutting pieds is, woof, that's super. If anybody that doesn't know what I'm talking about, we cut the eggs. I don't cut the snake open. When we hatch them, we cut the eggs open, and finding pieds inside is probably one of my favorite things cutting open still. So I am still excited about pied, but I hit this middle ground where I'm like, this is a long plateau in the middle of not that exciting. I guess that's the best way I can put it. That's a long answer. Sorry, man.
Yeah, I hit some hypo pieds this year, and I believe one is a pastel Huffman pinstripe Enchi hypo pied. Beautiful steak, but like it has no pattern. It's just basically a yellow and white snake.
Yeah.
But I do want to do shows eventually, and I know that pieds do sell really well, so I won't ever eliminate pieds in my collection, but I don't think it's going to be a major part of my planning going forward.
Yeah. And I should frame it too. Like, don't get me wrong. Everybody knows me. The sales are great. The sales get me excited. But I tell you, pieds and bananas to some extent, but largely pieds provide the greatest sort of awe and wonder to people new or that have not engaged in the hobby. It blows their minds. I have people ask that to us and to the audience would probably seem like the most asinine questions. They can't get their head around it. They're like, is that in shed? Is it going to grow in? I'm like, no. Look, there's an adult that stays that cool forever, and they are blown away by it. And I love seeing that sort of wonder and joy. Like it's almost like a kid seeing, whatever exciting thing a kid sees on any given day that just blows their mind. Like that's what it's like with adults with pieds. So I love it for that too. I have to say that.
They're the morph that got me into it in 2001, Reptiles magazine. Pied, oh my God, I want it. And I went online and saw that they're $25,000 and was like, I'll never own that thing. But now here I'm hatching them and I'm not too excited about them. So It's kind of crazy to think that way, how things have changed.
I know, and I remember I had ball pythons in 2002, Gainesville, Florida. I had 2 normals. I remember walking into a shop, and ironically, I think it was Ben Cole's shop. I would have known who Ben Cole was forever until I vended shows in Florida. I think it was Ben Cole's shop. But regardless, he's a pretty memorable guy. I think it was him. But regardless, I remember, there was a pied in there, and I want to say it was, maybe I'm making it up on my mind, I want to say it was 50, 75,000. I mean, I remember being to myself like, oh, I could buy a sports car or that thing. Yeah, good luck. It's cool, but I'll never have that. And like you say, now I'm like, I'm cutting these things open like it's Christmas Day now. It's a really neat, kind of blown away feeling. So yes, I still like pods. I got to figure out how to reinvigorate my interest in moving the projects forward, but I've got a mahogany pod that's coming into his own. He'll get in the mix. My first double visual I ever bought was a hypo pied male. He's a super pastel hypo pied male. So he's a powerful breeder in the right situation. I've got some, honestly, clown pieds are pretty cool. At first I was like, I don't get it. Then I saw, I don't know if Ken's still watching. Ken at Primal Scales had just bangers of these, and he's just like, no, those are just regular pied clowns. I was like, oh my God, those are incredible. Anyway, yeah, I like them. I took over that segment. I didn't mean to. So Desert Ghost clowns. What else you got cooking?
I've got a pastel static. Static is the same thing as Acid and Confusion. She's up to size now, and I'm going to put a VPI Xanthic genetic stripe to her. So I don't know if you've seen the Confusion or Acid genetic stripes, but it affects the pattern greatly on the G stripes, kind of like how it does with Clown. And it's really underrated. Not many people are doing it. So I'm really excited to get static in with genetic stripe. And yeah, that's another big project I'm looking for.
I got to take a look at that. I'm not familiar with it. And I got to say, I kind of am at that point that we were just talking about with pieds with G-stripe. I have some, but I don't see a whole lot in the project that excites me a lot. I'm still going for that super blackhead G-stripe. I haven't seen one and I haven't made one. Maybe this will be the year. So I am excited about that, but I've got a couple female G-stripes that were holdbacks from last year that'll be ready next year. And I'm like, once I get that super blackhead, I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Now, maybe it'll be so mind blowing that that's a whole new area of what I want to go after, but I'll have to check that out with the Acid. Does Dale have any? I mean, Dale does a lot with G-stripe and a lot with Acid. I figured at Constricted Reptiles, I'll have to check and see if he has any. I'll go look up some though. That's kind of neat.
Now, did you get your VPI Xanthic Clown yet?
Yeah, he's not mine, but I got him.
Okay, so
yeah.
Got a breeding deal going on with that. So I was actually right before I heard you got one. I was searching up for one of those because, yeah, VPI Xanthic Clown is a project that I'm big into as well.
Yeah, that I gotta give appropriate thanks and acknowledgement. That is Keith at Creative Genetics. He is a Proper Royal sponsor, but he sponsors Proper Cup of Joe. He was a sponsor here. Yeah, and Keith's a good buddy, so I don't mind telling the story. It's kind of a funny story. I was like, man, I don't want to get into more breeding projects. I've had great success with them. They did. People like Jeremy Bott have helped me out. Shannon at Green Dragon Brokers, Brandon Nixon. They've all worked out. There's not been a problem with a breeding project, but I remember being terrified all year that there was going to be. And I just didn't want that stress. And I had seen Keith saying, hey, I'll send you a snake. And I thought it was the episode Bob Vu was on. I thought it was either a clown het Xanthic or an Xanthic het clown. And I was like, no, for the $400 or $500 breeder, I'll just go buy it. And I'm not going to worry about the stress. I really appreciate it. I mean, he called me. I went through the whole thing of telling him no. Hopefully I was gracious. I was like, no, it's not about you. It's about me. I don't want to deal with it. And he's like, $400 or $500? What are you talking about? Where are you going to get a clown Xanthic for $400 or $500 ready to breed? And I was like, Oh, okay. Maybe I want to do this. What do you think? And thankfully, Keith was gracious enough to let me backtrack on my word, and we hopefully will have some very cool babies to show for it in the year coming up here. I'll keep the rest of our deal private, but it was a funny story though. So, Mark, did I lose you? Are you frozen up there on me? I thought so. So that's what I'm working on. Hopefully Mark will be back to join us in just a second. While I give him a second, that's Mark at 403 Fauna. Check out his YouTube page. He's approaching 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, and check out his Instagram page. He's approaching 5,000 followers on Instagram. And I know that he's worked diligently at this for years. Mark is the epitome of slow and steady wins the race. So it looks like we lost him there. He's asking if it's on his end or my end. Maybe it's on my end. You guys hearing me? Give me a comment, guys. Maybe Mark. Maybe it's me, not Mark. Any comments? Check. Yeah, my comment came up. Yeah. Josh says I'm here. Yeah, Mark, it must be on your end, man. Yeah, Phil. Oh, okay. Phil says it. Okay, and then here comes all the. Here comes it all. Everybody's on, and Mark is back. Boom, Mark is back. There it is.
Sorry, I lost internet, so I have to use my hotspot on the phone. So apologies.
Oh wow, you hooked that up real fast, man. It was kind of funny because, like, you're a great person to have on the show because you give space for conversation, and I hope I do the same for you. But the turtle's always swimming. So I always know that you're there, even if you're quiet or not moving. And then I was like, Mr. Porkins ain't moving. I'm like, act normal, Adam. Maybe he'll connect. Maybe he'll connect. And I was like, nope, now it's getting noticeable. I'm just talking over Mark when there's no Mark. So glad to have you back there. You had that hooked up quick. Okay, so we talked about breeding, a little bit of social media. What anything you don't want to do next year that you've been doing? Any sometimes, like, we always think of goals as adding things. Anything you want to take away that you got to get rid of, that you got to be done with and improve from that way?
You know, I've got some females I would like to let go, but I kind of like to hang on to things. Like, I've got a phantom female that's gave me some eggs this year. I don't really need it. I don't have any plans for her. So I just got to get rid of some females, and there's some males too that I haven't even used that I got in 2020. Yeah. So I know people need to downsize their collections and just realize they're taking up space, they're eating rats, and again, I'm more on the hobbyist stage, so I've got to get over that mindset if I want to become a businessman.
Yeah. That's a good point. I think we all wrestle with it. One thing I was thinking on that topic, that topic always gets phrased as, well, we start buying these shiny trinkets that we like, i.e. snakes that are just cool looking, and then we want to breed and we realize that they don't have a value. And it's always presented as this like finite thing. You've got to realign your collection. And then it's like this hurdle that you get over. But I found it's an ongoing thing. Like, it's the collection is always dynamic. There could be, you never know when a clown axanthic's going to pop up that changed everything in a second. I think you could be dynamic, and it can be an ongoing process rather than a finite thing. And it always gets presented that way. I feel like I need to streamline that thought, and I feel like I can make a video on that topic because, like I say, it's always presented as like, well, here's this stage, then there's this stage, then there's this moment that you do this. And I'm like, it's not a moment. It's ongoing. It's forever ongoing. I needed that male at the time, and now I don't need him as long as this works out. So, like, anyway, that was my thought on that you made me think of.
It's funny how acquiring something can change your direction entirely. Like, I got the Mojave Krypton Het Ultramel, and because I bought a female Het Ultramel Het Ghost, and I thought, hey, I'll make some Ultramels. It was kind of like a side project of mine, but this guy was a really good breeder. While some of my other males couldn't get the job done, he ended up getting a job done, and now I've got a lot of double het ultramel clowns and possible ghosts and stuff in my collection. So just one little addition can steer you in a whole completely direction you didn't plan on taking.
I agree, and I think I say it a lot. I think it's about using the resources that you have and rolling with the hands that you're dealt. Like you say, sometimes a male doesn't go, and you have. We're going to not do things if you have a perfectly good male that would still be a cool project. Now, if it's a junk, no project's a junk project, but you know what I mean? If it's something you're not passionate or excited about, sure, don't breed it. But if you have a pretty close second plan B, go with the plan B, and roll with it. You got to go. Everything's so unpredictable. Who would have thought the crash of any magnitude would have come, much less the situation that DG went through? I mean, that was the hottest selling ticket for a couple of years. All I heard was DG. Got to have DG. Oh, people, you don't have DG yet? Blah blah blah. Anyhow, well, Mark, we're coming up on 90 minutes here. You've been very generous with your time. You're still at school for the day. Take a couple minutes. Tell us about your famous sidekick back there, and how is he or she doing? And give us a little background on
Sure.
that animal.
So this is Portuguese, the pig-nosed turtle, and I got him in 2010 from a pet store that was closing down. And at the time, they had always put ridiculous prices on it. But since they're closing down, I told them my story. I'm a teacher. I'll share them with generations of students. And he gave me a really good deal on it. And so my students get to interact with this turtle that otherwise they could only go to a zoo or a SeaWorld or something to see. He's super friendly. And, I'm going to try to pick him up for you guys.
I know I don't you handle him every now and again?
Okay. I'm going to move this camera over here.
How many gallons is that tank? That's 80 or so?
This is 200 gallon, actually. It's kind of hard to see.
Much bigger than I thought, yeah.
Kind of hard to see, but the depth it's a 3 foot deep tank.
Okay.
Like 30 inches tall. And I know I get a lot of heat online saying, you got this turtle in that tiny little tank. But I believe the interaction that he gets with my students is really good for him. He gets scratched every day. He gets fed treats every day. I do have a 300 gallon pond at home that I kept him in during the pandemic. But I think having him being interactive with my students not only is great for the students, but I believe it's also great for him. Let me see if I could do something with him right now.
For whatever my opinion's worth, 200 gallons is no slouch either. 200 gallons is a big tank. And like you say, if you can't see the depth, that's a different story. 200 gallons is a lot.
So pig-nosed turtles, they have a layer of skin on their shell. So he really loves to be scratched. And I have a brush up here so kids can scratch him if they're afraid of actually touching him. They could use that brush. And we'll just see how excited he gets when he gets that scratch.
Now, you had one video or short of him particularly excited. That's not what you're referring to, is it?
Oh, are you talking about when he...
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
He occasionally... me and my students lovingly call it the sea monster, but he occasionally shows his sea monster.
Okay.
I could sometimes get him to dance if I bump his chin with the algae magnet. Let's see.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if he's going to dance for us, but...
That was pretty close right there, what he was doing. That's good.
Come on.
Now, is that the same turtle as a fly river
turtle?
Yeah,
Fly river.
It is.
Correct.
Okay. And what's the rule on those now? Are people able to breed them? Are they not? They can't import them anymore, right? Legally?
Yeah, they're endangered. And this guy, he came in before the ban, so you cannot sell these anymore unless they are captive bred. Now, I've heard very few stories of them actually being captive bred.
Gotcha.
They're really rare.
Yeah.
In the industry.
Well, he's a beautiful animal. And sorry, I know you said you've had him now coming up on 14 years. What's the lifespan on those? I'm so glad that he's doing well and so glad that we still get to see him. How long do you anticipate having him?
He's going to outlive me. So I got to figure out.
Really? Okay.
Put him in my will or something, but
those kids better earn their extra credit, man. There you go.
I'll be probably retiring within the next 7 years or so. So he'll be going home with me back to his 300-gallon pond. I'll probably have a bigger pond for him by then.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the face behind my 403 Fauna.
Cool, man. Everybody go show Mark some love. 403 Fauna on all the platforms, specifically YouTube and Instagram. Mark, I want to say thanks so much for having you. It's always a pleasure. You're always welcome. Come back. And I got to figure out the schedule coming up. I got Troy from Best Dressed Balls next week. And then in 2 weeks, it'll be the 26th. We'll all be bored out of our minds with our families. And I want to do like a little like hangout show. Like once a year, I just do a thing where people just come hang out, man. So I'll send you a link, but you're more than welcome and you're invited. I hope you come hang out on that. We'll do, I don't know, some sort of laid back kind of goofball episode. I'll get rid of the structure. We'll just hang out and see what comes up, but I hope you'll come back for that. You're approaching like the 4 or 5 timers club. So that's rarefied air here, man.
Thank you so much. You helped me with this, Adam. And my future is being built upon what you do. So thank you so much for it.
Thanks. It's humbling to hear that. It's still, I don't mean it in an ungrateful way. It feels weird to hear it, but thank you. I'm working on being gracious and accepting compliments. So thank you very, very much. You've done at least that much for me as well. Can't wait to see your new stuff. And I think at that point I will say good night, everybody. Mark, thanks for being here. Everybody check out 403 Fauna and the sponsors down in the description. Troy from Best Dressed Balls next week. I think that's it. Cheers, everybody.